I want to talk about the best location for you to mount a white light and laser combo, or perhaps even just a laser or just a white light on your AR type rifle with 4 available options with rail positions. You've got the top, you've got either side, and of course you've got the bottom. And we've got a Railmaster Pro from Crimson Trace here. I've got my M&P 22 training rifle. It's completely clear. Obviously there's no magazine in it. The chamber is empty, and we can just kind of move around here and take a look at how we're going to mount this Railmaster Pro. Now, first of all, if you're not familiar with the Railmaster Pro, it's an aluminum body, very durable, combination light and laser. So it's got a 100 lumen light and either a red or a green laser. This particular model happens to have the green laser, and it's set to strobe mode. It's a multi-mode device, so I can actually turn it on, hold it for a few seconds, it starts to cycle through, and we can get through light and laser, just light, back to strobe, and I think I'm just going to leave it on the laser only. So as we go through this demonstration, we'll be able to see why I might prefer certain position over others for the mounting of this Railmaster Pro. All the Railmaster Pros come with these inserts that match up with the rails of either a rifle or your preferred defensive pistol. We just kind of snap this into place a little bit, and that's going to allow us to mount it. Now when we think about where we're going to put this, primarily you have 3 options, not really all 4. You probably wouldn't want to mount this on the strong side of a rifle. So if I were to mount it over here, it becomes kind of awkward for me to reach around and over with my thumb or reach underneath with my fingers to activate it, to turn it off and on. Instead, we're going to limit ourselves to either the bottom, the top, or the strong side. Now traditionally, most people are used to mounting their lights and or their laser device over here on the strong side. Now in the military environment, you see different setups, but in a civilian environment and law enforcement environment, mostly what I've seen traditionally is that this item gets mounted over here on the strong side. And usually that's going to be just fine. It makes it very convenient for activation. If you think about where your hand is in the support position, I'm out here on the rifle anyway, and that's exactly where this light or laser is going to end up. I can activate these switches very conveniently as long as I have 2 hands on the rifle, and this is going to be a really good place for it. Where this becomes a problem is if I happen to be moving out to the right. You imagine that I'm moving out to the right and I want to flash that light kind of indirectly, intermittently down at the ground to see what's going on around that corner that I'm moving around. Well, I could end up in a situation like I would here. If I put this box here, you can imagine now my muzzle and my eyes are moving around, but my light may be blocked by the corner of that wall. And that's one of the reasons, especially if you're up close to something like a barricade and you're resting up against something for cover, that this light could really be taken out of the fight and be less useful if it's over here on the strong side. So a lot of people have moved to looking at mounting the light underneath of the bore. And now I've got the light actually mounted down underneath of the bore, and now anywhere that that bore is moving, the light and of course then the laser are going to be also. The other thing to remember, and especially because we do have this set up now for the laser aiming device, if I'm on the side, I have to worry about the cross of the light. So in other words, the light is going to be angled a bit to match up with the bore. If I'm underneath, then I'm going to have a more traditional setup with this as an aiming device where my elevation will be off, up and down I'll be off at different distances, but my windage left to right will always be spot on. The other thing that we have to remember, and one of the nice places that you can think about keeping a light, which gives you, again, the ambidextrous use and being aligned with the bore, is that if you have a rail setup that does leave you the option of taking your front sight, maybe a backup iron sight that's going to be complementing some kind of red dot, and moving it back, that can buy you some real estate to mount this light up here on top of the bore. And that's also going to give you the ability to flash that light when you have a depressed muzzle and not have to worry about casting the shadow of the barrel and maybe anything that's left over of the rail out in front of you. So this is going to give you the purest ability to use that light. And that's actually my preferred spot. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. I'm simply going to take this clamp and I'm going to put it around that insert that I placed here earlier. I'm going to start on one side, roll that over onto the other side, give myself a little bit more clearance from the front sight, place that down in there, grab this little multi-tool, and very quickly. Just tighten up those screws. There's 2 of them. The Railmaster Pro has a great runtime. It uses 1 CR2 lithium battery. It is waterproof to 1 meter. Of course, it's got some really good impact resistance. Again, it's an aluminum bodied device, CNC machined. Crimson Trace is well known for its high quality laser products, and they've been giving us some integrated light and laser products recently, and the Railmaster Pro is a great option with red or green, again, laser options and multi-mode flashlight. So now I'm going to set this up, and I'm actually going to go ahead and hold that button for 3 seconds and go back to that white light. And now what I see in front of me is just that light. I don't have any shadow from the barrel at all. Of course, I can look through my red dot. I can use the iron sight, the rear sight, and the front sight, and it's not obstructed in any way. If I did have to transition, if I did have to move into a position where I was using my left hand, of course, now I can just use the switch on the other side of the Railmaster Pro. So you have a few options when it comes to mounting any of these lights, lasers, or an integrated device like this one from Crimson Trace. You have the bottom, you have the side, and if you can move that iron sight back and get yourself some real estate out in front of it, or if you don't have an iron sight, you're just using a red dot, out in front of everything else at the end of your rail over the bore is a great option that you should consider for your personal defense or professional use long gun.